We're developing an offshore wind test centre off the city of Aberdeen. It's attracted the attention of the European Union, and they've given us 40 million euros to help us build this. That's how strategically important they think it is. We will start to see turbines being built there towards the end of 2012 or into 2013. AREG stands for Aberdeen Renewable Energy Group. We've been running since 2004. We're a membership organisation for all of the companies in Aberdeen who have an interest in renewable energy. And our purpose is to help stimulate the growth of renewable energy projects in the Aberdeen area.
Now, is it Aberdeen and the Shire, or the North East, or just the city?
No, it's Aberdeen and the Shire. It's in the region. And in that region we've got a lot, obviously, of companies who work in the oil and gas business. And the skills in the oil and gas business are becoming very relevant to what we want to do in renewables. So it's a very good match.
Okay, so Renewables champion, what does that involve?
Well, it gives me a lot of flexibility to visit companies, to encourage them to get into this sector. I can also go and visit many organisations in Aberdeen to encourage them to look at renewable energy in their buildings and in their projects. So I visit quite a few people in Aberdeen. I get round and about quite a lot.
Now, you'll know that back in November 2010, the Scottish Government produced a consultation document all about securing the benefits. Essentially, it's talking about securing the benefits of renewable energy opportunities for Scotland. Now, what's happening here in the North East under the umbrella of AREG to aim towards those goals?
Well, the Scottish Government is taking a lead, almost in world terms, in pushing the renewable energy agenda. And it's set a very ambitious target that 80% of Scotland's electricity will be renewable by 2020. That's 4 out of every 5 light bulbs will be running on renewable energy within a decade. So that's extremely ambitious. A number of technologies will contribute to that, but one in particular, offshore wind, is going to be very big. And this is where those skills of the Aberdeen oil and gas industry come into play, because all those skills for big scale engineering, for design in a marine environment, for working out there in the North Sea, this is what Aberdeen has been doing for decades now. So put those skills together with those political targets, and I think we've got a recipe for success.
Okay, so you mentioned offshore wind. We're here at the Offshore Wind Conference and Exhibition at the AECC. What's happening here over these 2 days?
Well, this is very exciting. We've got 400 people here from this area and from elsewhere in Scotland and from overseas, and they've all come really to discuss how we can make this happen, how we can achieve these targets that Scotland wants to achieve, how we can get the skills of oil and gas into this. And we've seen some announcements of some very big names moving across, making that transition across. Companies like Subsea 7, big Aberdeen marine contracting company, has just announced an alliance with Scottish and Southern Energy to help deliver offshore wind farms. Very exciting stuff.
Okay, so you've said a lot of interesting things, but how does all this affect the man in the street? Really, they're not going to know any change in their electricity, because as long as it comes out of the supply, the socket in the wall or whatever, then they're happy because it charges their mobile phones, it lights their homes and things like that. So why should your ordinary man in the street pay attention?
Well, I think it's very important for a number of reasons. I mean, the first is the economic benefit, the jobs that will be created. It makes us all more secure if we have a good industrial sector in Scotland. And this is, Alex Salmon said yesterday, this is the fastest growing part of the Scottish economy, is the renewable energy area. So that's very good for Scotland. I think also the environmental benefits are clear. If we can move away from fossil fuels and generate more of our energy renewably, this helps the planet, and Scotland is playing a leading role in that. And I think the third benefit of renewables is in terms of energy security. And every single country in the world wants to make more of its energy at home and be less reliant on moving oil and gas around the world, because then you're vulnerable to things happening in other countries. So every single country in the world wants to be more self-sufficient in energy.
So what are the challenges in that case that face Scotland in order to get to where we want to be and get all these benefits?
Well, the capital programme would rival the expenditure on the entire oil and gas programme. We're talking about £100 billion. So to achieve that, there will be serious challenges along the way. We have to make sure the planning system can cope with licensing projects of this size. The financing will be huge. We will need to bring in financing and persuade the banks that these projects are viable. Our entire grid system will have to be able to cope with a completely different way of working, bringing the electricity in from the sea back to the cities instead of delivering it the other way around from the centre outwards. It will come from the fringes into the centre. So our grid has to be changed in many ways as well. And our industry has to adapt and evolve to meet these new demands, and certainly Aberdeen companies and the AREG membership are up for that.
Now, you can't walk down Union Street in Aberdeen without bumping into somebody who works in the oil and gas industry. So we've got the man and woman power here in the city, in the Shire, to run that sector. But have we got the brain power and the brawn to run renewables? Is that here just now, or do we need to be investing in that?
Well, there's a good match between the skills we have now and what is needed. We'll have to change them a bit, but there is a good match, and some companies many companies hopefully will move across, make that transition. At the same time, I always say to young people, if you're considering a career, please think about renewable energy. It's going to be a huge industrial sector in Scotland.
So what's the timeline for all this? When are we going to start seeing things happening? Because at the moment it is still Aberdeen's city of oil and gas.
It is, but interestingly, we have a key project here. We're developing an offshore wind test centre off the city of Aberdeen. We've developed this project from scratch. It's attracted the attention of the European Union, and they've given us 40 million euros to help us build this. That's how strategically important they think it is. We will start to see turbines being built there towards the end of 2012 or into 2013. And that will be a very visible demonstration that Aberdeen is not just a city of oil and gas, it's a city with a renewables future as well.